Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Dr. David Quartell, and I've got a good one for you today. So we're going to jump right in because it's something that's been blowing my mind lately, both in my practice at Quartell Chiropractic and even in my own life, where I'm always working, striving to become stronger, healthier, and just more vibrant, more vital. I work with patients every single day who also come in thinking that their body might be fragile, but they want more vitality. They avoid movement because they think it'll hurt them. They want to save their spine or save their joints and save their strength. And I get it because we've all been taught to think that way. Even as recently as the 60s, bed rest for heart attack, right? But here's what I'm seeing over and over and over, the literature and in daily practice, that the opposite is true. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most counterintuitive truths in health and in biology, and something that really completely flips the script on how many people think about stress. We always think about stress as being bad, but how we think about stress is in regards to movement and getting stronger. So I'm going to paint a picture for you. Pretend you're out on a very windy hillside, and there are trees. They're all gnarled. They're all twisted, but they're incredibly thick and sturdy in their trunks. They look like they've been through hell and back, right? But they're standing strong, and it's because of the stress that they're under, right? So now compare that to a tree grown in a greenhouse. Tall, skinny, well-protected, very fragile. One big good, gust of wind from the hilltop would just snap it over. The difference, it's not luck, it's adaptation. And it's the exact same principle that governs your bones. It governs your muscles. It governs your entire body. And here's where most people, and honestly, where even, I first in practice, I used to get tripped up here too. And it's where most of us miss it because we've been taught to think of the body like it's a machine. Right? Typically like a car or other type of machine. And in our experience, machines will wear out with use. The washing machine, you got to replace it. The refrigerator, you got to replace it. The more you drive a car engine, the more the parts degrade. The bearings grind out, the gaskets might fail. So what's a solution? We shut down the machine, we reduce the machine's use, we replace machine's parts. And this is the foundation of everything that I teach in the Body User Manual and in the Quartell protocol, is that your body is not a machine. It's a living dynamic system, very much different from a machine. Share similar principles, but the living systems don't weaken with use. They respond to use. And that's a difference between us and a machine. Because when you load your muscles, when you lift weights, you go running, you do walking, carrying groceries, you're not damaging your muscles. You're sending chemical and mechanical signals, which is what we would call stress, right? Mechanical signals and chemical signals that tell the body, hey, we need to get stronger here. We need to do more here. We need to change the way our machine is built. Our muscle fibers adapt. Our tendons will thicken. Our fascia will remodel. This isn't wear and tear. This is communication at its most basic level in the body. And the bones, this is where it truly gets fascinating. And personally, this is how, this really changed how I practice chiropractic. Back in the 19th century, in the 1800s, a German surgeon named Julius Wolff was studying skeletons in the skeletal system. And he noticed something very profound and unique, that bones are living tissue. They're not static, they're active, and they adapt, and they remodel themselves precisely along the lines that stress is placed upon them. If you load a bone more, it becomes denser, stronger, thicker, hardened. If you remove the load, then the bone becomes thinner, it becomes weaker, it becomes more brittle. This is known universally in Wolff's law, and it's one of the foundational principles behind how we approach movement. It's also how we approach posture and even rehabilitation in my office and through physical medicine. Tennis players, for example, will develop a much thicker bone in their dominant arm playing tennis as compared to their non-tennis arm. Weightlifters build denser skeletons compared to non-weightlifters. And astronauts in zero gravity, they'll lose bone mass, and they lose it rapidly, not because they're unhealthy, they're some of the healthiest people on the planet, but because the signal for bone growth is gone. And here's the part that really gets me and gets gets me jazzed up, because after a fracture or after an injury, it's movement and activity that help. They don't delay healing, they enhance it. Prolonged rest leads to weakness. Strategic rest is what leads to recovery, right? And strategic rest is important because this principle doesn't stop with humans. It also is associated with plants that do the exact same thing. And honestly, when I even learned that there was a word, an actual name for this within plants, it kind of blew my mind. I mean, it was studying biology for years. I didn't understand that there was a thing called thigmomorphogenesis. It's touch-induced shape change in a plant. When plants are exposed to wind, brushing, mechanical stress, they don't become fragile. They reinforce themselves over and over and over. They build thicker cell walls. They build stronger stems. They build deeper roots. And this development we see when trees grow on the edge of a cliff. They're shorter but sturdier. Even gardeners will gently brush seedlings to make them stronger and more dynamic and more vital before they transplant them. And from a tiny lab-grown plant to a massive oak on a mountainside, to even how your own spine that's holding you up right now, these are living systems, and they're wired the same way. All the living systems on Earth, as we understand them, are all wired the same way. When stress is dosed correctly, and that's important, dosed correctly, it isn't harmful. It's the instruction manual for the body. Too little stress, atrophy, weakness, loss of function, brittleness. Too much stress without appropriate recovery, breakdown, injury, burnout. But the sweet spot, the right load, the right timing, the right recovery, that's really where growth happens, vitality happens, strength builds, your body becomes stronger, healthier, health span improves. And that's super compensation. This is why it's the use it or lose it. It's not just a slogan, it's true biology. This is why bed rest fell out of favor in the 1950s and 60s after a heart attack. This is why we understand that movement after surgery improves outcome. This is why we understand that chiropractic care that focuses on restoring movement and motion, not just relieving pain, is what works. And personally, this perspective shapes everything for me. This is how I think about aging, how I think about training, how I think about healing, even how I approach challenges in my own daily life. The soreness after a workout, it's not necessarily damage unless you overdid it and lasting 3 days, it's damage. But a little bit of soreness, that's a signal that the body uses for repair and upgrade. When you're walking in the wind, right, pushing against the wind, you're not just exercising, you're reminding your nervous system what it was built for. And it was built for adaptation. So the next time that life feels like it's pushing against you physically, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, remember the trees on the hillside. Remember Wolff's law. Remember that you are not fragile. You are not merely just a machine, but you're a living system designed to adapt, to recalibrate, to grow stronger. All of this from load and stress. You can lean into it. Respect the dose. Don't overdo it. Spend time for recovery. Recover well. But that's specifically how resistance is built. Once again, thanks for spending some time with me. If this podcast resonated or any of the things we put out resonate with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Specifically, somebody who wants to hear or needs to hear that movement doesn't break them. It builds them. It makes them stronger. And as always, this is Dr. Quartell, and I want to remind you that your body might not have come with a user manual, but it does now. You can get in touch with us through any of our social media outlets. You can email us at quartellchiropractic@gmail.com. Check out our website or give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.